You know what's also a
That's what.
fun hobby, guys?
What?
Playing video games.
Yeah, most of the time.
And speaking of video games, we are playing Alpha Protocol, which is an RPG made by Obsidian Entertainment.
Obsidian, Obsidian Alpha and Intertalf Entertainment.
Same, though,
Were you
actually.
trying to combine like Alpha Protocol and Obsidian
What?
Entertainment?
No, you don't remember the very beginning of the game when it starts off in the missile cutscene that we used in the credits for disclosure
Yes.
alert. The missile cutscene uh, comes up with Alpha Protocol, introducing a game by Obsidian Entertainment, and the
Yeah.
A's in Obsidian are flipped into alphas.
Oh, right. I do remember this
You
now.
have a lot of emails.
I
Yeah,
remember
we
this
have a
now.
lot of emails to talk to.
It's Endgame. They all want to talk to you.
Something tells me, I'm trying to figure out what C would like. I feel
Z
like
likes the
aggressive
aggressive.
isn't flirty enough for C. For C.
Z actually likes this suave email.
Yeah,
When you
because
where you
it's
tell her
totally
that
in tone.
she reminds you of her blind, helpless grandmother.
That's
She actually
totally in
likes that.
tone for what C kind of likes. She likes being disrespected.
Yeah.
But I believe she also likes the aggressive one. But I know that she gives +1 rush salon.
Yeah.
It doesn't actually matter here, but you will actually get a response. And she gives a different response for each of these. The other one to reply to is the
Yeah.
one from Stephen Heck.
And we get some Alpha Protocol intel from Omen Dang. Oh yeah, Omen Dang. He suspects there's an HNO's Alpha Protocol that exists.
I
But
know
we know
it's,
nothing about that.
but the best part about it is that it just gives you the next bit of Alpha Protocol intel.
Yeah.
So you can, which means that technically it can be giving you like detailed information about Westridge's operations. Right? And it's
And
like,
doesn't
how would
know.
you know this if you didn't even know that Alpha Protocol exists? It's one of the problems with the abstraction of the dossier system.
What is your middle name?
I don't believe ever listed as Michael F. Thornton anywhere else. But
Mm-mm.
I feel like this suave
we
response is
have
also
to.
something that Stephen Heck would actually like, even though like the aggressive one is also something he would favor as well.
Do you want a spoiler about which one he likes?
Sure.
Okay. They're all equal. He doesn't have.
He
He
has no
doesn't give a
preferences.
reputation. Nope. And you will see why. When you get his response, you'll understand why.
Oh. Speaking of, I'm Brandon Carey.
Oh, yeah.
Joining me is Alduin
Hi, that's me.
and Anaphysic, aka Will.
I guess that has to be me then, doesn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
this is an important email. The found Mina intercepted an email because actually this email has multiple different variations, well at least two. The one that you've got there mentions that Halbeck's stock's going up, 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 yay, 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 everything's going great. And the email's from Jacobson, who's the director of special projects, who's actually the person who's on many of the blackmail, the Halbeck data emails that you can get and use for blackmail or send to Scarlet or send to the black market. And he's the person who has apparently done all the funding work for the Rome op and Taipei op and Moscow op.
Mhm.
As the director of quote unquote special projects. I love that euphemism. But there's a couple different variations of this because as I saw when I loaded up, Cloud sent me the save here because I wanted to do some checking on the stuff that we had, and I noticed this email was different than the one that I had just gotten because the one that I got has Halbeck stocks. How about not meeting quarterly projections? And it's like, but he's like, but it'll be like maybe in the future things will turn around for us a bit. I mean, I'm still hopeful that these things worked out okay. And even at the end, like instead at the end of that message, he's like, oh, and we got tons of money for your special trip to undisclosed location, Alpha Protocol Gray Box.
So should we just start
Whereas
off
at
with
the
the
end of
Shahid
mine, he's
mission? You
like,
think?
I can't give you actually enough money, but we'll find a way to pay for it somehow. And I believe, yeah, you can go to Shahid first if you want.
Yeah, let's start with the Shahid mission because it's a pretty simple one. We're just gonna tell him we're gonna kill both Alpha Protocol and Halbeck. And we're
Yeah,
gonna kill
you
him
wanna
afterwards too.
Okay. Because I have there are two major problems I have with this mission. I'll get to them, I guess, when it's done. Because I want to finish that split. So the email that you get, and I believe that those emails that you intercept from Halbeck has to do. The email you get depends on whether you've blackmailed Halbeck or sent more emails to expose Halbeck. And I actually wonder what would happen if you sent them to the black market. I wonder if there's a third email that's different that way, or if there's one if you've like half and halved, because you've entirely blackmailed Halbeck. And when you think about that, like how much did you get each time? $15,000, and there's 9 emails, so you've lost them $135,000. That's nothing. That's a tiny drop in the bucket. Some of the emails are about hundreds of millions of dollars for just a single project, like the Griffin is, $400 million losses versus $400 million,
I would expect
$5 million for a recall.
the option that would hurt their.
Yeah, and in my recent playthrough, I sent all of them to Charlotte, or I almost called her Harlot. Oh my gosh. I sent all of them to Scarlet except for maybe one that I sent directly to Lee just to piss them off personally. You are gonna have to restart the mission if you want to kill him. By the way.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna have to do that. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay. Because these are my two problems with this mission.
I know there
Number
was a third.
one,
I wanted to finish the conversation off. I didn't realize that was my only chance to hit the execute button. I forgot.
Yeah. You have two options: one before the yes and no, and one after the yes and no. But the way that this mission is set up, and the fact that it appears there twice, implies to the player, I think, that
you can do it at any time.
You can do it any time, and the real place to do it is right after you say, that's
right
a
after
start.
you agree to betray the Alpha Protocol.
Yeah, but I mean, the real place that it should show up. So my first problem with this mission is that it's not clear when you can execute Shaheed, and more importantly, like that choice should be at the very end. Like, yeah, you could have it at the very beginning too, but it should also happen right at the very end, especially since the mission intro explicitly tells you that you could be going there to kill him. Like that's a choice. It should be at the end, and it should be at the end for multiple reasons. One, because it just makes a better play style to do that at the end and make an explicit choice between execute or not execute, and that's how pretty much all the other execute ones have been done anyway. Yeah. And number two, it's cooler.
Yeah.
It's cooler to have actual long conversation with Shaheed, and then at the end go.
And then at the end go,
by the way,
I'm done with you. By the way, you've done you've done what you need to do, and your place on the board is gone.
They even have a perfect spot for it where Mike says, well, that's a start. And we could come up with option between execute this bastard versus, well, I guess he's actually a royal. So he's probably not a bastard. But, execute this fool versus, give him instructions, right? And, you can be, that's a start. And then give him instructions I also have you send out a message.
The thing you were talking about where
execute him.
It seems like you're supposed to...
Because you gotta pay.
It seems like you're supposed to be able to execute him any time. That's exactly why I didn't do the second execute option.
Yeah. So the first one, you want to choose any of them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And then we'll choose yes, and then we'll choose execute.
I personally like the no negotiation one here because Mike explicitly calls out the fact that Shaheed has been personally involved in these matters. I do like Shaheed's little bit here though. The rightful blame bit. Now, Mike throws that back at least a little bit, but it makes sense from Shaheed's perspective. Shaheed is very like Tarkov in this matter, actually, and that he's very much thinking about in terms of he's an actor.
I love this scene.
Like Tarkov. Oh, it's really cool. Yeah. Wait, no, that's the last.
That's the last one there. I am ready. So am I.
So am I.
Oh yeah.
I'm ready. So am I.
Did you shoot him in the neck?
Perk acquired unfinished business. Perk acquired no witnesses.
Also, you should get the perk Desert Spear, which is really cool. That's the one that you get
for completing the op. Yeah.
Yeah, for if you killed Shaheed back in Saudi Arabia, you would get the Desert Spear because that's Operation Desert Spear. Oh, by the way, before you take into the next mission, don't click on one of the actual missions. Instead, right-click. I want to show you something weird.
I want to look at the perk screen first, just to show that off.
But yeah, I like that you get that same perk no matter when you kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
really cool. See,
So like every single thing we've done in this game has given us a perk of some kind that just increases our capabilities just slightly.
I mean, a lot of these are pretty subtle, but
Yeah, but
I
they
like
like these endurance ones add up
Yeah,
over
those add
time.
up.
Like
Oh,
you
oh,
see,
yeah.
my endurance pool is huge.
yeah. I mean, I also just played the game and had like 195 endurance or something, which is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
I'm trying to
I
find-
think
like these
Desert
for,
Spear is an AP bonus one. Oh, that's what AP stands for. Which I don't know what it stands for, but it's some sort of points.
you eliminate
Action.
Shahid as ordered. That's
AP
great.
are what you. Well, I didn't think about that, but yeah, AP are also what you. Are also
You
the term
killed
for the
4
thing,
major
advancement
characters
points,
in
maybe.
cold blood.
Yeah, advancement points.
And for some
yeah,
reason, so I checked the dossier to see who you've killed, and I guess the champion chick counts as a major character. There's only 4 that you've killed
Probably, I guess.
because you've killed you just killed Shahid, you killed Sis.
Yeah, for sure.
Darn it, what was the third one?
But I do like the perks for like character. Like they do add up, like the bonuses, because
Oh, Nasri.
Yeah, we did kill Nazri.
Again, that like Nasri and Champion Chick really count as major characters.
Well,
It's a bit
they
odd.
have a dossier entry, so I guess that's what counts.
Sure, but
Yeah, I guess
so
if
does
they have a
Alvaro.
dossier entry, that counts.
Let's
That
leave
counts.
Albatross for last and go talk
but
to Scarlet.
right click before going into Scarlet Lake mission.
Oh, right before going in.
Right click on this screen, yeah.
It says
And you
we're
see
in
it comes together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it says, look at the map though. Operation First Full Circle takes place in like Texas for some reason.
Maybe it's just I don't know,
That's what I'm pointing out. Like
U.S. somewhere.
this is but this safe house is in Greece, or at least it's said to be in Greece and in elsewhere. Like at the beginning of the game, the safe house that you temporarily go to, which I believe is this same model, is set in Greece. Or at least the little ticker at the bottom left says that it's a vertical safe house in Greece. Actually, since we're going to go into this Scarlet Lake mission, I want to talk about the little pop-up that occurs at the bottom left at the beginning of a lot of missions, because some of them are strange. I don't have a like full accounting of them all. This one in particular is very weird, and there's a couple that we've already been through. Like you can go back and rewatch the videos and you see this then starts and you'll see these little pop-ups. It always gets a little pop-up saying the time and the location.
I've never had this, by the way, this meeting in this area.
That's because you've never had her thing low enough. So if you saw down there, it said Charming Gardens Cafe, Hong Kong. And there's problems with that. And there's actually problems with this entire mission in terms of like where it's located. So Scarlet mentions Charming Gardens Cafe in her emails, and it's in Taipei, where she's just like grabbing a bite to eat, waiting for things. So she explicitly says it's in Taipei. And here in this little bit, here's a Charming Gardens Cafe in Hong Kong. And then at the end screen of this mission, it'll say that we met in Taipei. Met Scarlet in Taipei.
That's
But
a bit
Scarlet's line here says, "Well, wow, it's been a long time since Taipei, Mike," or whatever. So
Which
she
is why
explicitly says, she basically says this isn't taking place in Taipei. So I have no idea where the fuck this meeting is actually supposed to take place, because the game doesn't know.
Yeah, that's pretty inconsistent.
And those little pop-ups also have weird things in other places. So 2 ones that I know of for sure are the Lazo's yacht mission in Moscow. Does not actually take place in Moscow, because the pop-up says it takes place in St. Petersburg, which is like an 8-hour drive away from Moscow. Just so
Russia's big, turns out.
What? Yeah, Russia's very big. Also, Petersburg is on the
it's on the coast. It's
Baltic
on the
coast.
Yeah.
Moscow is in the middle of the country. Well, the middle of the
European
country.
side.
All right.
Another place is the Marburg's Manor, which is in Genoa, which Josh Veal from our guest back in Disclosure Alert actually pointed out, noted. It's like, oh, it's Genoa. That was the first time I noted that. Genoa is, again, like a 5-hour drive away from Rome. And that one maybe makes a little more sense because Madison says that Marburg doesn't have. It doesn't keep his stuff at office. He keeps it at a villa somewhere else. But still, that's a substantial distance away. That really isn't just like in Rome. Like you're actually going significantly far away. And again, the Lazar's Yacht one is just implied to be in Moscow, except in that pop-up. And so I wonder if those pop-ups were like made early and not updated, or what. Like I'm not sure. It might be some relic of they had differently laid out the missions. At one point this was meant to be an open world hub type thing, where you'd walk around the place and then do missions from there. And maybe when they transitioned away from that, they thought, oh, we can spread out our missions all over the map. But then they ended up implying that they ended up wanting to more like consolidate them into a single hub, rather than like, because they still made safe houses. Maybe they made the safe houses very late. Maybe there was a middle period during the restructuring when they were just going to have just that map screen.
Yeah, but who knows?
You just see a big old country map.
It's got the hub. It's got the hub system. So like your safe house is in Moscow, and then you like operate out of that safe house and go to St. Petersburg or whatever. Like it doesn't make. It's not that weird.
It's not, but that's not the way that the mission setup actually implies. Like those missions imply that they all take place just in this one place in Moscow.
Yeah.
Whereas, like it's not implied that they do it all over the country or all over some region of influence.
God, you
like
are
there's
cold.
actually a map. For instance, there is a map.
I'm taking a bit of pleasure at antagonizing him with Sis's kill. Like it is really easy to push Albatross' button. You all you gotta do is kill Sis and then piss it and keep mentioning it every time you talk to him.
I'd actually like you to reload that safe house, by the way, because there's a lot of different really cool dialogue in that one little conversation with Albatross, and it only takes like a minute each time. So if you're cool playing through it a couple of times,
so what should I do next time?
What you want to do is last safe house. So first of all, you probably want to say assistance rather than anything on the second node, but this time, because that makes the dialogue flow better. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense. It's fine if you want to show off the dialogue poorly, you can do that. But if you want the dialogue to flow properly, but would just be suave when he
assistance and then what?
Assistance and then be suave. It's say payment.
Okay.
And just don't move from the A key. Yeah. See, last time, as soon as you hit revenge on me, you didn't have another choice after that. Then you will have some more choices.
I can pay you.
But just leave it on payment.
I could give you the location of the facility. That's worth.
This little first one is the best too, because it comes up so damn fast.
But I can't get them once I'm inside.
Like as soon as you hit payment, he says, "I have no need of that," and the timer starts counting down to your next little bullshit option because it's such a little bit of time. And yeah, so it goes through several different ways of trying to convince him, and each time Albatross just shoots you down because he doesn't believe. Number one, he doesn't need money, but number two, he just doesn't believe that you're actually capable of doing any of this. I love that the final option was convince, and it just failed to convince him. This next time through, choose destabilization.
Oh, will he actually accept the logic?
He actually will, because the destabilization one is the one where you actually, because you've pointed this out, that Albatross will work with you even though he hates your guts, if he has the proper reasons for doing so. If he can see that your success and his success do actually align goal-wise.
Yeah.
Even
if he does want to shoot you.
Yeah, the first suave option is the funniest, by the way, because he's like, Albatross, you don't look so good.
Yeah.
Oh, snap. But yeah, destabilization is the good one where Mike says, look, Alpha Protocol is going to fuck up the entire world. You have one of your literal goals in G22 is to maintain status quo, to not have the world get fucked up. I noticed you didn't choose destabilization. You might want to do the one I was literally talking about.
Well, yeah, I thought it was first and then destabilization.
Albatross.
Huh? No. The suave options replace themselves with replacement ones because none of them work. Absolutely none of them work. But the game just gives you like 4 different failure options.
That makes sense.
But they're operating on incomplete information. The events they were hoping would start.
But yeah, the destabilization one is the one where Mike convinces Albatross to work with him, even though Albatross hates his guts because taking down Alpha Protocol does benefit G22 and Topek.
As much as I dislike you, more important matters are at stake.
And it's the same sort of why Albatross will work with you to save Surkoff from the embassy, even if you killed this.
Although you can totally turn your reputation with him around after killing Sis if you want to. Like if you give him results, he's very easy to forgive the fact that you murdered his protege in cold blood.
This next time, and the call, because there is a fourth option here. There it shows up a lot in the conversations when you're talking on the phone, where you just end the call. And this one is particularly a good one. You can give him some if you want to make the dialogue flow right. You can try and convince him first, but with some
and then
with
just
some
give up.
options, but it doesn't. And then just give up. Like instead of convince, give up. But you could just go straight to end call if you want. I like playing through things in a way that makes dialogue flow in interesting ways, because
even if it doesn't always make sense.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
even if it
I like
takes
trying
more
to fish for what seems like the default dialogue conversation.
I mean, this game doesn't have a lot of like defaults.
There are some though that sound more
There's a
like more
few, maybe.
logically like thought out
Yeah.
than others.
I mean, that happens when you have a branching system, right? Like, it's very hard to make a conversation flow right when you have all these bits and pieces that you're trying to put together.
Oh, I mean, for instance, many of these dialogues are shared with.
Screw this! He'll be the first person to get hits my nukes.
Yes.
I'm gonna actually replay that one more time to get the canonical ending be the one where I try to convince him and then just say, "Yeah, go for revenge," just to get the maximum pissing off of.
That's actually what I'd recommend too, because you can get him all the way down to hatred. So the way you do that is you choose those
Convince him,
suave
try to
options.
convince him twice, and then use revenge.
Yeah. Or you might have to choose Inside Man as well, but that'd be trying to convince him 3 times. But yeah, the payment one happens fast, that it's easy to overlook that one. But yeah, as soon as the suave one says convince, instead choose revenge on me,
And then we'll start.
and that should get him all the way down. But yeah, like this shares dialogue with the positive rep Albatross version of this one, which I really like, by the way. It's really nice, and that's actually the one that features the actual dialogue option labeled closure. Albatross will ask you why you want to go back to the Alpha Protocol facility, as it seems counterproductive, he says. And Mike can say for the closure of it, like I have to know what they're doing there, and I have to stop them. But yeah, so for instance, like anyways, some of the dialogue overlaps with them, so sometimes it doesn't work as well. But I really like the positive rep one with Albatross. It's a good. This is a mutually beneficial situation for both of us, because Albatross will go like, I have every reason to help you. I mean, you've proven yourself capable before. You saved Sis when you had no reason to do so. You saved me at Braco's mansion if you've done that.
Yeah.
And
then you get a secret fact
besides,
afterwards too.
Yeah. And besides, it doesn't really make sense to kill the golden goose.
Yes.
And Mike
Or
will
the
go,
albatross.
or an albatross. Doing both would seem unwise, and Albatross goes, indeed. And when we reach our destination, we shall prove that, which I really like. I really like that little moment between them. And then Albatross says, until then, I'll be the south wind at your back. And that south wind is an explicit reference to the Rhyme of the Ancient
Mariner. Yes.
Where the albatross in that story is associated with a south wind.
I actually went and reread the poem after beating this game the first time, getting that secret fact.
I'm surprised he stayed on the call that long, to be honest.
Well, it's because you kept pissing him off.
Yeah. Reputation now at hatred with Albatross, so yay!
Good job.
We might actually end up choosing him as our handler. I'm not sure yet.
You can't. And a good south wind sprung up behind, the albatross did follow, and every day for food and play came to the mariner's hollow.
Okay, so we choose C or Stephen Heck.
Yeah, those are the only two that you can have the option for.
I don't know which one we should go with.
I have never seen Z, but Hex is very good. At least it didn't. So,
since you haven't seen it, and I don't think many people have seen it, let's actually go with Z.
I've been able to. Well, I will be able to see Z over the next week. I just need to replay through the end of the mission.
Right.
Like I have access
I
to
don't
her.
think many people outside of us will have seen Z, because I think most people will end
Okay.
up choosing Albatross or Heck.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there.
Which is funny because if you don't pick her, you can't get the perk to not sleep with just for no sleeping with any women at all,
It shouldn't be much longer.
Because you have to have the opportunity.
because
for
you had the
all-
opportunity to seduce her first.
Really
Mike,
interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
because it unlocks at the end of that scene when you decline her. You have to at least give her the opportunity to sleep with her first before you decline her, and then you unlock the perk.
Mind if I sit here?
I'll just go ahead and let you know.
Go ahead.
So I've seen the beginning of I've seen the beginning part with Z, but I haven't seen the ending with Z. Basically, I've only seen the ending with Heck and the ending with the other people. Basically, I will let you know that in the Z having sex with you scene, you do not have your beard on, so there's really no reason to sleep with her.
Yeah, you can decline her, and she's not a
Oh.
rapist, so she won't just stop.
Although she does try to give you the excuse of, look, you could just say you are raped. Gosh,
She also asked if you're gay or not.
when does she do that?
No, if you decline her, she'll get. You're not gay,
Oh, no.
are you?
Go ahead and decline her this time because you have a different setup. Because I played through your file in Mingbit.
Oh, that might not be the one that I like. This file gets because I
Oh,
have actually had her ask me if I'm gay when I
Oh,
declined her.
sure. But in this case, no, I actually recommend declining her option because number one, she gives a good dialogue afterwards that you don't get if you have sex with her instead. Whereas she just gives you like a really short line. Here, she'll actually give you a little bit of a philosophical
I also
bit.
like
So
that
I would recommend
Darcy
declining it.
accepted the call
Also-
without thinking there might be any risk to him. Like there's not anything funny going on.
Oh, damn it. I meant to check his lines to make sure, but I'm pretty sure that there is absolutely no difference between his
No, there's
low
not.
rep lines and high rep. I don't believe there's any difference whatsoever. Do you remember what you put? Because I remember.
I don't. It's been too
Uh,
long.
Duty.
Yeah, I think it was
Too
you.
late. I
Okay,
actually
it's
do
fine.
like this scene.
Oh, no. So there are two basically options. Well, there are actually four options here. One for you getting right, or you remembering it correctly for each of the three different options. I guess there's five things because there's two, but that just skips ahead.
Yeah, I
and then
actually do
there's
like that they call back
This
to
fourth
that
one,
in the
there's
beginning.
fourth one that you've shown
Okay.
here, which is
Silence.
well, no, in this fourth one where you've shown where you get it wrong,
Yeah.
where I guess there's a lesson here. When reality meets fiction, reality wins out.
Not many people ever get the chance.
But there's also a different little dialogue bit for choosing each of the correct ones. So first, if you choose, well, damn it, I actually forget what happens if you've chosen duty before and you choose duty again here. But the one I just played through earlier, I had chosen action at the beginning, and I remembered it because I remembered goddamn everything except unlike you two apparently.
I thought it was duty.
What-
I got it right.
Okay, you got it right this time. All right, you did.
Yeah,
have,
I almost-
you did have a 1 in 4 chance because you could have guessed.
Yeah.
Silence.
Yeah.
But it will be.
I said silence before.
Back on this years
Uh,
from now.
If you chose an action and you say that you chose action here,
Mhm.
Leland will ask you, was it worth it? Was all that anger and momentum and mission worth it? Because if you ask me, all it did was get you to this room faster, which is bad for you. So he actually gives like a good little put down about it, and I'm not sure what the thrills one is,
You
but
misunderstand me.
I don't know.
You see,
I
I'm not
might-
here to gloat. I'm here to
if I do
I don't care about
if I recreate the disclosure alert save file, I believe we said thrills for that one, so
discussing you.
maybe I'll be able to
Several
find out.
in my calendar. I like that line because that implies
Oh, it's really
that
cool.
still implies this whole Scarlet angle. If you weren't
Oh,
paying
yeah.
attention,
The best you
Yeah.
could have hoped for was to
And
be
actually,
left
he will talk about Scarlet too if you choose not to punch him, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna punch him.
I think it's slamming his head in the desk, but yes, we're gonna do that.
It's labeled punch Leland, and you punch him and then head slam him.
Yeah, I remember. I have more memories of the head slam than I do the punch, and I'm sorry. That's just what my brain remembers.
Well, look, I'm just saying I remember both.
because I recognize
He's got you there.
and I reward loyalty.
Thinking you just saw this, so
Mike, you already work for
That's true. I've seen it several times because I've been through this.
excellent.
A lot of
Seen
times.
quite a bit. As part of my practice for many of these, I try to go back to a
Wow.
bit and run through like every dialogue option that I have access to at the point. Like, you can't go all the way back to the beginning of the game.
Oops.
Just knocked down my microphone.
You're not
Uh,
to be a
You can't
rogue
go all the way back to the beginning of the game and replay through it all just because
They'll execute you.
it takes too long.
Me,
Even though
I
this
have a
game is
different
long. But yeah.
perspective on the situation.
Hmm.
Oh, this is an interesting line too. So because you killed the gelato shop guy, by the way, is that's exactly what that line was about. It was you killed a gelato shop guy.
Sounds like you've made this awful.
I imagine there's a bunch of different things that I can say on that line. Like,
I had a long time ago.
I can only imagine all the things that he would say at a disclosure alert run, because we killed the gelato shop guy, we actually killed the CIA agents, we killed Marines in Moscow defending the embassy. We let a bomb go off in Rome. Maybe that would show up in there. I don't know what
The
else.
only
it
thing we've
could
done is
show-
kill the
we
gelato
killed-
shop guy. That's
we
like
killed-
the only like innocent person we've murdered, which is actually
We-
surprising considering how violent
I
I've been
know.
in this playthrough.
But
Yeah.
we also killed civilians in Taipei. We killed the cops.
No, I did not kill the cops. I
No,
knocked them out.
I'm excuse me. No, you've
In-
done
in-
a
Disclosure Alert.
mildly okay run. I'm talking about disclosure alert, which was
Okay.
a train wreck for civility. And I just want to know like what things can talk about right there to call us a rogue agent about. Like I just that's one reason just to play through it again, for us to do a final disclosure alert closure episode. But
I would love to
So-
see the dialogue trees just for this whole game. You know how like in Detroit, as bad of the game that is, I really like the trees that they show you at the end, showing like what percentage chose what option.
oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
the Telltale model where they just give you some of the
Yeah.
major decision points.
But I will note that Leland can, like, if you've not anything, which, for instance, in my not being a moron role, playthrough, I did do that. But if you haven't done anything wrong, quote unquote, then Leland will give like an actually really good line that I think is meant to be the intentional one because it actually flows properly with the dialogue, where he says that simply you know too much. You found out all the embarrassing little details. That makes you a really good agent, but a big liability. And that's really true. Like that is very appropriate not only for the game but for Spycraft in general.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a second,
too
fourth
much.
option available here, by the way. So we got dossier. That's from having high Marburg dossier, full Marburg dossier. But there's another one
Interesting
here.
that like I can do that even when Marburg has like absolute super
Oh, yeah.
negative reputation with me.
Oh yeah.
Like all you have to do is point out, hey, by the way, you got screwed last time.
But there's another one that's would be labeled Deus Volt, and that's if you have full Marburg and
And Deus Volt intel.
no, and as much as possible as you can get of Alan Parker's. You can't have all of Alan Parker's dossier because the final one is actually in this mission, but you can have 80% of it. So I don't know how much you have to have. You have to have a significant amount of Alan Parker's dossier, and that's the one where you actually tell Marburg that Alan Parker was his handler on the Deus Vault operation in Pakistan. I imagine you also have the DV Star info. I'm not sure. I know that it's triggered based on Alan Parker's dossier info.
The restraints were a little weaker the first time, and I'm not.
Anyway, I would recommend refusing because you will get number one, a very funny scene, a different very funny scene than the one that you were remembering, and number two, she gives a good dialogue afterwards, explaining her viewpoint as as an agent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Also-
I remember last time I had this conversation, she was like, "You're not gay, are you? It's okay if you are, but like, just let me know."
If you want to thank me, then let me go.
Well, you're not because you didn't choose Stephen Heck. This isn't our romancing Stephen Heck playthrough like it was last time. I did just play through this mission with Heck as the handler, and there's actually a line on in the mission which would have been perfect for our disclosure alert romancing Stephen Heck
Yeah.
dialogue. It's amazing. Where well, it's actually sad, but Steven says, sorry Mike, looks like I'm gonna be able to hook up with you later after all.
I'm a little curious as to why.
I do not
Aye.
like Marburg, and he has paid me already. I'm free to leave, but you...
You can still end up on the boat with him though, even if you rescue me. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I will let you go.
I thought that Mina would override it, like if you've romanced Mina, that Mina would just override it. But actually, if you had Heck and Mina, Heck still showed up at the boat at the end. Oh, these dialogue options.
No way in
are
hell.
badass.
Absolutely.
Yes. Or might as well.
Fine, my
You might
love,
as well.
just
I'm in love with someone else.
use of you.
That's what I told you. I told you.
Oh,
you were gonna
that
see
must be
something
because I was literally going for like the no lover playthrough at the time.
Well, Michael,
Probably.
You are a hard man to understand, but I think I understand you enough. But I have one more thing.
There are some really good
Advice, given freely.
those little dialogue options that appear in the game. They're just some great ones, especially in the labels. Like I would prefer more often that you just
Know what
you
you're
have
gonna
like a
say.
little dialogue snippet that you know what you're going to say. For instance, and there's a Marburg conversation earlier where one of your options is ready to die, but then Mike doesn't just say you ready to die, even though that would be super appropriate. Number one, it's just short, pithy, and also it's what Marburg asked you back in Rome, and so it'd be a good callback. But instead, you know, they just have to give a longer, more convoluted dialogue about it that's not as explicit, not as clear. And it's also not the thing that you like chose
I
when
like
you
this
click this button.
this miniature like moral lesson off protocol has of blind obedience is not a good thing. You should always question the underlying logic behind what you're being asked to do.
Yeah, and we're gonna see that Westridge and Parker did not do that.
Yeah. Like that's
Yeah.
actually a very good like if there's any moral lesson behind off protocol, that's probably it.
That's pretty common. It's
It's
pretty
a common, but it's an interesting one.
I also think there's a moral lesson in like you should always make sure to like remove as many bugs as possible on launch so that you don't get a bad reputation just right off the bat. And so people don't just dismiss you like straight off the bat, and you know, because that was a real problem.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Obsidian.
With the Alpha Protocol problem. I mean, actually, sorry, it was a real problem with the Delphi database that Halbeck was planning to implement after the operation in Rome. That is actually what in one of the Halbeck datas. So one of the reasons that they're trying to sell a civilian tracking
Yeah.
database to various governments, and that's part of why the false flag operation in Rome is there. But the Halbeck data that you get about that explicitly has, I don't know if it's Jacobson, that special operations director, or someone else, but it has the person in the email saying, we got to make sure all the bugs are out of the program before we get it to release. Which I think is, number one, pretty
That's
funny.
ironic.
considering it's Obsidian. Yeah. And number two is also like, my goodness, they're pushing this, you know, database which is going to affect many people's lives, right? And they don't even know if it's actually, you know, bug free at this point. They're on, you know, normal corporate timetables, you know, not actually trying to produce something with the best results, just, you know, as long as it's good enough. Sure. Kick the door
And
down.
then you stomped him.
Stop
Yes.
You
finally.
stomped him because he was a drunken whore and he treated you like shit.
Ouch.
You stomped him for all the years you've had to take it. Looks like I made a mistake.
Well, guess I made a mistake.
Rip.
Oh,
Yeah, we
that was
finally-
a Elena War reference, just in case you didn't catch it. You weren't catching up.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was a Discord reference because you said it a million times during that show. Every single time we stomped somebody, you're like, and then you stomped her.
Contact Parker.
But yeah,
This
we
is
finally
weird to
actually
not
knocked
be able to
somebody down with
choose
the door.
both. Like I still
know,
can't
I hate
believe
that.
you only have one choice.
it's not even explained why.
It's just like, oh, I only have one choice, one chance, one choice.
I mean, it's not adequately explained why. They're just, oh, there's no time.
Option Madison. You better believe I'm taking this.
You can do it until the fourth option. You actually have several nodes you can take before then.
Well,
I
too
assume
late.
that you didn't, but in fact, I would have preferred that you hadn't, because we would get more dialogue from Parker, and Parker would explicitly note that. Actually, it's too late now. Actually, you'd have to get the autosave way back at the beginning of the thing.
And go through everything.
Yeah, you'd actually have to alt F4 out now if you wanted to actually get it. So I'll just have to explain it. Normally, so it'd be better if the Madison one weren't there. If you had to like reason with them for a little while and then you got to choose Madison.
Mm-hmm.
But if we had done that and chosen at the latest possible option, which would have been better, we went through the point where Parker explains that number one, he doesn't view himself as working for Halbeck. He views himself as working for Alpha Protocol, and it's just our government that works for Halbeck, right? So there's a chain of command here, right?
Yeah.
So it's not me working. I haven't made that decision. I am just following orders that have been, because Halbeck has been properly authorized by our government to do this, and my services have been properly contracted for this matter. And Mike will go, wait, what do you mean your services? What does that mean? And Parker call back to the very beginning of the game where we had this little dialogue with Parker, his role in Alpha Protocol, where he's tasked with creating triggers in the world, or with identifying triggers in the world. And in this case, he was tasked by Halbeck to create triggers in the world, and those triggers are the operations that we just went through. And Alan Parker gives a little bit of detail about each of them. But China, the point in Taipei
I left
was
one
to.
alive. That's a problem.
You also probably do not want to rescue Scarlet, by the way. That'd be my recommendation,
Why not?
because we can't get her secret back that way, and we don't get a cool scene if you rescue her.
We can't execute her.
No, not right now. No, because you don't know that she's the assassin. You can go into that room, but don't go into the hub room behind it. Like
Okay.
there's dossier info here. You can hack these computers or whatever, but don't actually go into the next door. You can see her through the glass. Yeah, don't go in there. I mean, you can if you really wanted. Then you won't get to see something cooler later. Is my opinion.
Oh, you mean the scene where she tries to shoot you dead?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's where she'll reveal that she's the assassin. You get a cool little scene between her and Leyland and yourself.
There's the Marbury.
Anyway, sorry. So Parker talks about each of the 3 bits. Each of the 3 operations. Where China, the point of the Taipei operation is to increase tensions, is to pressure China, is actually to pressure China into possibly getting involved in Taipei, because he believes that if China's bogged down in, a Taiwanese suppression operation, basically,
They might buy more
that will
Halbeck tech
buy.
to do it.
Well, number one, it'll buy the U.S. more time to get to get stronger, right? China will be spending all these resources, and the U.S. will not, and they will have most more time. But also, just generally, China is getting stronger by the day, as he claims it. And if they end up being reliant on Halbeck tech by buying lots of Halbeck tech, not only it's not just that Halbeck benefits; it's that the U.S. benefit, because they're reliant on Halbeck tech, because then they are also reliant on people who have more direct control over Halbeck tech, or who are more directly affiliated with Halbeck. That is to say, if they're reliant, he says, if they're reliant on Halbeck, then they're reliant on us.
Yeah.
So that benefits us. Now, I don't think he's right there in China start to occupy Taiwan. I mean, he would be right that would expend a lot of Chinese resources and would do a lot of economic damage to them. But also seems pretty likely to get the U.S. involved in that case.
Yeah.
But then again, like if Halbeck is basically taking over the government at this point anyway, effectively, or supporting it, then maybe they have intimate knowledge that the U.S. would not intervene in this case.
Oh, that's where I go.
I mean, I think it probably depends on the explanation, right? But
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying what he's given at least.
Yeah.
The
it
other
depends
ones
on why.
are pretty similar to what's already been said before from Leyland. Moscow was just a distribution center, and Rome was a lesson to Europe, basically. And at that point, you can tell him, oh, and what about the part of the plan where your daughter gets killed in Rome?
Yeah.
And he goes, what? What are you talking about?
Because Parker is oh, he knows everything, right? Because that's his job, is the analyst and all that.
So let's rescue
And
Mina, I guess.
more importantly, so yeah, you should probably rescue Mina. But more importantly, it explicitly gives Parker's role in all the matter that he was the one that created all the plan. Like he was that person, that another. Leland provided the goal, Marburg does the execution, but in between that is Parker coming up with the plan. Like Parker's actually the one behind all of this, so to speak.
Yeah.
And this is kind of another place that we can learn that. We learned a bit about that back before in Marburg's Manor from the Secret Fact, but now we get more explicit confirmation.
Yeah.
Well, one can. We didn't, but one can.
Just make sure you don't run away before we get to chat.
I don't think this actually changes anything in the end game. Whether
I don't believe it
do
does
this or
either,
not.
but given that there was explicitly the Madison thing in Rome, it makes you feel like it might.
Yeah.
So I think it works well there as
Oh no, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that now I think about it, I don't think it's actually
yeah.
like
I don't
actually
think-
has an actual effect. Now that I've played this game.
I mean,
like
I
9
don't know
times.
because I've never tried it. I mean, here's what we could do. We could just play through this mission again and not hack that one computer and instead shoot Madison and the guard at the same time. There was a time in
Because there
Disclosure
was
Alert
one
where-
time where I
Seamus Young, where we
I
went through
didn't
the
save her.
same little bit like 20 times.
there's actually
That
one
sounds
time where I
good.
came here to execute her in cold blood myself.
Oh yeah, sure. If you're working for Leland.
Yeah.
Although at that point, you can free her well. Leland instructs you to go and kill her, and you come up here and free her anyway, and it doesn't change your ending.
Honestly, one of the best versions of the scene is where you save her after she hates your guts.
Oh, it
She
is
goes
quite
like,
good.
"I don't even know why the hell you're here."
She actually refuses to be saved by you, or tries to refuse to be saved
Yeah,
by you.
you
and then
ultimately,
you can
like-
let her go anyway.
Yeah.
You can leave her there if you want, though. I suspect that's the scene we would have gotten in Disclosure Alert, because we got Mina down to -10 from murdering a lot of civilians. We got
Alright.
her. We got her from to +10 all the way down to -10.
That's what happens when you have a system that's based on like small changes through a lot of different conversations, and then you just have a billion people and killing each one
I mean,
lowers it.
you're saying that as if you didn't kill them. when
Yeah,
you could have
I
just
know.
knocked them out.
You know, you're saying
Like a-
as if you didn't encourage him at every single opportunity.
Hey, he didn't have to take my
You're
advice.
sorry. This is my fault.
Ooh, nice toes there.
They were following
Yeah,
me.
it's that's one thing where you choose to have her hide or not. It doesn't matter. She gets captured either way. That's
Hit you.
the plot demands it.
But I hit him first.
I'm getting you out of here. Can you stand?
Yeah, mostly it's my pride that's hurt.
That's with my pride that's hurt.
I sealed out.
But I hit him first. That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why I feel sorry.
she has the biggest injury of all, the wounded pride.
Give up, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Not as long as
I was actually gonna say that
you
it'd be
break
cool
it,
if
might get a little rough.
Rough
if
idea?
Darcy, when you fight him later, has a little
Not so much.
Little
Le-
welts
little
on
less
his
health.
face.
Yeah, that would
but
make sense.
I'll do what I can.
or a little less health is actually what I was gonna say. Just like Marburg can start with less health. in
Yeah.
certain circumstances.
I'd
But
actually
actually, I
appreciate
realized
either,
that-
like if he had like
The thing
health
is,
indicators
the thing is
or
that
a visible injury on his face.
the thing is that the visible injury would be much better, because I believe he always gets hit.
Yeah,
Like Mina's always here, and so presumably she
and Mina
always
always
punches
hates Darcy, so
I'm laughing at Exeter in the chat. That would
Except
sure.
I want to believe that big box below the explosives, below the explosives is the sarcophagus from Bloodlines.
oh man,
That's
like
right,
before it got
Bloodlines.
loaded up. Yeah, that'd be great. Referencing that old LP.
Buffalo though, Buffalo, etc. Really?
It's a typo.
We
leave him
use
alone.
modern words here, not your archaisms. So, a funny thing about this safe, it contains a weapon mod. Is there any way to modify your weapons
I
at this
don't
point
think
in the
there
game?
actually is like a weapons.
'Cause there's actually a ton of weapon mod and armor mods you can pick up all over the place here.
I guess
no
in
idea
theory,
why.
like if there's ever a sequel, like it'll not be useful.
Nah, that's not usually the kind of thing you carry through to a sequel.
Even Buffalo. Oh, if you had gone into the right door that you just gone past, you would have gotten Yancey Wester's secret fact.
Which is
His first name isn't actually Yancey. It was something even more embarrassing.
Traitor!
From all the records.
No. He had an embarrassing name and changed it to Yancey?
I
What?
like how you believe. I like how you believe that. Like that was the real one. You didn't.
Oh, I wish.
Just for the
I
record.
wish.
Just for the record, I made that up. But I just love that you actually believed it.
I mean, this game has some stupid lore, so I would believe anything at this point. Like if you
No, it's
if you
that,
told me that like Alan was a gardener before he showed up in Alpha Protocol, I believe that too.
No, he actually started in porn films in the 70s.
So he is this game's Ron Jeremy. I understand now.
Oh.
Again, so that's actually something I didn't make up, that he starred in porn films in the 70s. That's actually in the game. It's a joke that Mina makes, but it's in the game. If you ask her to investigate him on the extra one, she goes, "Did you know that Alan Parker started in porn films in the 70s? He didn't, but that would make this dossier way more interesting. That would make researching him way more interesting. Although actually, she has a very interesting time researching Alan Parker, because part of her research involves talking to Parker. I think we covered that actually. I think we had her investigate, where she goes through. She finds a bunch of operations that Parker was assigned to, and she goes and asks Parker about some of them, and Parker like, maybe I did. Yeah, I guess. Details, whatever. It's not really that important. And she's like, hold on. Parker does not forget a damn thing.
Yeah.
So that makes me incredibly suspicious. And that's when she realizes that, Z, are you ever going to kill this guy? That's when she realizes that, Parker was clearly working on previous versions of Alpha Protocol before, and those missions that were on his formal dossier are actually cover missions. They're all entirely made up. Or, if not made up, then, he wasn't actually assigned to them. His role in them is fabricated.
Yeah.
The actual Yancey Westridge's secret fact is, like, he loves his wife, but he cheats on her all the time. So.
Oh, right, I do remember that now. I don't know, like, you might even be able to talk a bit to him about that, like, if you, like, knock him, if you kill him instead of Leyland.
No, I don't believe so.
Or like I don't know.
The talk with Yancey at the end is entirely about it's very similar to the Parker talk in terms of like
where like
how about that permission, like we just follow orders like a good soldier, like that's what you do. And about Mike's role, not all of it.
Do you have access to the
Mike's the protagonist. Of course, he's wrecking everything.
I'm confirming some details on the Rome operation.
Just get the job done.
Yeah, I could use some help. Can you get on that other terminal? I need someone to log in on a secondary station.
So in this case, so this is probably the better version of the using dossier on Marburg, in that you just use it to rub it in. Because if you actually use the Deus Vault one, and also turn Parker via the Madison one, in this case, so there are a couple different versions of the scene that we're seeing here, and there's two special ones. We're seeing one of the special ones where Parker pulls a gun on Marburg, and we'll see how that turns out. But there's another one where Marburg asks Parker about the Deus Vault operation. Yeah, that pen does some work.
I actually love how Marburg and Parker have a very complex relationship because of what's happened in the game.
Yeah.
And they don't even realize they have a complex relationship. They just do. It's like there's this underpinning of secret facts that they're both keeping from each other that really underscores the fact that these people should not get along.
Yeah, actually, like Parker does not know that he burned Marburg.
Yeah.
Like, I think that Marburg's identity was secret. Marburg was operating under a different name type thing at the time. Because there is another version of here where Marburg asks Parker about, what is that? Is it God wills it? What is that? Deus Vault. And Parker's like, Deus Vault? It's an interesting term that you pulled out of nowhere there. And then he turns around and Marburg kills him in the back. And he's like, I can't believe I didn't recognize the voice. It was you. It was you all along.
I also love that Marburg immediately puts together who told him that St. James was his was killed.
Yeah.
Thornton. God damn it.
Did you already kill Marburg?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I chain
just-
shot at him, and then he died in one combo.
Okay, I just missed. I wanted to make sure that you were actually being able to fight him and kill him here because
Yeah.
that was something we wanted to do. But unfortunately, again, you can try and turn both of them, but there's no like third scene where they both try to confront each other. That would be great
Oh yeah, that would be.
because it's just that one scene always overrides the other. So if Parker tries to if Marburg tries to confront Parker, then that's always going to happen, even if you've told Parker about Madison. When really, Parker should be trying to kill Marburg at this point.
Although, yeah, you can
It'd be
totally
good if there was
that one scene has like 6 or 7 different ways you can go down. Like it's actually a very, very like
Yeah, but
intricate
there's-
scene.
There's really only 2 like special cutscene ones there,
Yeah.
and I would prefer if there was at least a third one where they both trying to kill each other there.
But there is
Where they both
one.
know things.
There is one where
There's one more.
Parker does like Mark Burke isn't there and Parker is just like giving you evidence.
Yeah, that's the analysis
Yeah.
flawed one,
Yeah.
where if you've, I guess we skipped over that, but Parker tells you his secret plan before, or the details of the plan, and you can go,
Yeah, you
if
screwed
you
up, your
had all
math
the
is wrong.
information, but you didn't, you screwed up, and he's like, no, I knew everything. It's like, no, because I didn't kill Shahid. Shahid's still alive. I found out Surkov's working for me, not for you guys anymore. Omen Dang knows, Omen Dang's still alive, and so, you know, he's gonna chip in with, the rest of China, only the people that you were supposedly trying to be.
Heading for the wreckage. There might be survivors.
Yeah.
And so basically you fucked up every operation. You're gonna go down for this. Alpha Protocol's screwed here, and if you want any way out of it, you're gonna help me download all the intel. And I actually like that
it's
there's
like Parker has to save his own skin at this point.
Yeah, every single one of the hubs contributes to that in some way. So there's not killing Shahid in Saudi Arabia, there's unmasking Surkov in Moscow, and then there's allying with Omen Dang in Taipei. And then for Rome, that's the alternate option, which is Madison.
Yeah.
So I love that one of them actually has a little bit of a contribution here to talking with Parker at the game. Because
I also
Parker
just
is...
love rubbing in his face that he killed his own fucking daughter.
Oh, yeah, no, that's wonderful.
Oh, hey, this is the unchanging scene that no matter what happens, this happens in this exact same way. Darcy's such a flat character. He's so boring.
Yeah.
Compared to everyone else in the game, like, he is such a flat character. Like, he is championship levels of boring.
Even his fight here is also very flat, because you cannot get up and punch him out or anything.
I have the distinct
there's
feeling
pretty
that this
much
was made
stuck
at
in
the
the
last
tower.
possible second.
There's
think I
pretty
had
much
trouble
two
with
two ways. I mean, you can either try and shoot him from out in the open, or you climb up that tower, get a sniper rifle, and sadly,
He is very
using the
punchable.
sniper rifle is. That ragdoll, as you blew up and flew into the bushes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. There's an armor
Um,
mod there for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I was pointing out. Like, there's all these different armor mods and stuff. Yeah, you get up in that tower, there's a sniper rifle there, and sad to say, but using the sniper rifle is actually the best way to take him out, even though, God, the sniper rifle is so bad.
I mean, you could probably chain shot him when he pops up, huh?
Yeah, I
yeah,
hit the wrong
if you-
button.
I was playing without pistols.
Oh.
In fact, actually, if you can, could you tranquilize him?
I probably can. Need to figure out. I need to remember.
Q?
You know, I guess it actually probably doesn't matter. Never mind. You can kill him if you want. I was actually... No, you can just shoot him. Z's not going to have anything special to say about it. Never mind. You can shoot him dead.
Once he pops up, anyway.
Albatross does have something special to say about Sean Darcy specifically. I think Heck doesn't. Heck just tells you about the next stage. So I imagine Z
Oh.
will also just tell you about the next stage.
Okay,
Did you do
that
something?
works.
What the? Did you just get hit with a rocket or something?
I don't know what
What
happened.
Was there?
Weird. Anyway, when you kill Darcy, Albatross actually does have something specific to say about Darcy, which is that he
Senator
knows
Darcy might be
about
pissed off.
Senator Darcy, and Albatross just says this may have repercussions.
Oh.
I was wondering if it. Basically, I was wondering if it actually acknowledges if you trank him out or anyway, because yeah, don't stand next to explodey barrels, explodey pills.
Oh, damn it. No.
Oh,
How do you stop, turn off?
Press melee. Press melee.
F.
Use melee to get out of it.
I can.
Default melee is probably E.
I am hitting E. It's not working.
He is interactive.
Yeah. Yeah. He was melee, but it wasn't working.
Okay.
E is what I use for interact.
Oh, you exploded again.
Yeah. E was melee, but it wasn't working.
For Cloud, spacebar is interact.
Okay.
This time I chain shotting Darcy and yourself.
What?
Sorry, this is just like the third time. But so it is a reference to the original Disclosure Alert.
Okay.
You remember Madison from the mansion? Sorry, from the mansion, from the museum.
Yeah.
Do you remember how to play through like 8 times?
No.
Okay,
I believe we did.
because each time, like the very first time they threw, and you weren't suave enough with Marburg,
Right.
and so Cloud was like, "No, you have to restart." Like, absolutely screwed up the dialogue. We have to restart because we wanted to be able to goad him into the duel,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't sure about that, and so restarted. And so we went back, and then we're like, "All right, now we gotta." And the first time you just saved just fine. There's no problem.
Yeah.
But then, as soon as we went back, we started having troubles, as it were. Like, you got too close to Madison and the guy shot her, or you chain shotted and shot the guy in the hand rather than the head, and so
I do
shot
remember.
Madison. Or you shot Madison instead of the guy. And there were just like multiple times, or you just died before you got there, or whatever. There were so many times. And the best part is like, you were running past and you stopped at one point. You stopped at like this terminal computer and you started hacking it. You're like, what? We're like, why are you hacking this? Why are you spending time with this? And you're like, no, I got it. I gotta like collect the intel or whatever. You said I had to do this. So I was like, I have no idea where you're getting this from. I didn't tell you this. Why are you doing this? It got to the point that we just thought you were trolling us at this point, because we had mercilessly trolled you for the entire series, and that's why that episode is called Revenge of the Trolled, because this is the time that Alduin struck back, and just punished us all mercilessly. It was really, really good, and Seamus really got into it because he was like, "Now hold on, have we hacked this terminal every time? Okay, then like next time we need to not hack it to see if that makes a difference." Or like, it actually got to the point where he suggested, this time, why don't you like shoot Madison and the guy?
I remember.
See if
Yeah.
that makes it work. And then you did that, and it worked. It actually worked.
Oh my god! All these exploding trucks are starting to piss me off.
Did you?
He's about to. Yep. Oh.
Oh, you're gonna die. You're so dead. You're so dead. You're so fucking dead.
What is up with that ragdoll?
Yeah, that ragdoll is
You
redundant.
moonwalked. You moonwalked. You guys saw the ragdoll that I sent you over Slack,
I
right? Yeah,
did.
that was wonderful. The mouth flipping. That's this run, by the way, because I was just trying to run through and see what I could see. But as it turns out, I don't know how to survive this game when you only have submachine guns and whatnot. So I died a lot. And then I was just giving up, and I was like, you know what? I'll just see this on my own save file.
Oh, don't come up here! Don't come up here! Come on! You son of a bitch!
The very first time in this section, by the way, I entered this area. I saw the helicopter appear there, and it fired a missile at me, and I died instantly. Like 5 seconds into this bit, died. And I was like, well, that sucks. All right, well, we'll see how I can do this next time. So I reloaded, and the helicopter didn't appear. It bugged out and didn't show. And I just traipsed through this area, and the way at the end was open at the end, I guess. And I was like, oh, thank you, bugs. Because this helicopter is a pain in the butt to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it could just like explode you.
Trying to get my endurance back up.
can deal a ton of damage to you. There's only like one health station. I think there's a second one, but I'm not actually sure where it is. The one is the one that I know about is right at the end, in the front of the building closest to where the helicopter is.
There you are.
But like it's easy to get missing with some of these missiles. Kind of like the Striker Assault Vehicle back in the beginning. It's one of those boss fights, that's also the worst boss fight. That's the other worst boss fight. At least that one you actually have a health bar for, though. This one you have no idea how many of these it's going to take. But you can actually end up with these missiles because the helicopter has a little bit of evasion. It can touch or just move when you weren't expecting it to. And it also deals tons of damage if it actually hits you with its missiles. And you can wind up running out of these missiles to shoot and have to shoot it with your shotgun or pistol or whatever a lot. Yeah, this is a unfun section.
Yeah.
It's a
You're
pretty
telling
sharp
me.
contrast to the other bosses when you have chain shot, because they just die when you chain shot.
Oh
them.
my god! I hit him directly with all those missiles. Why is he still? Yeah, heal. Oh, come on!
You're about to get exploded, aren't you?
No,
There is
I'm
another
just-
one up those stairs, by the way.
Yeah,
there's the other
I
one.
want to retreat so I can actually get my health back up.
Because it keeps fucking shooting at you.
There was another missile launcher up those
I know
stairs.
where
you
I know
can
where it
try.
is. I need to get my health back
Okay.
up before I give it a shot to actually go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a health kit right there where the
Yeah, I see. There's one right there. Okay, that was a direct hit. That was
Is it still not
5
dead?
direct hits.
What? That seems a little excessive.
see part I mean about this helicopter not being fun.
Especially if it just doesn't die. Yeah.
Actually, a lot of this mission feels this mission feels fillery.
Yeah, this is by far like
It's just like the endgame gauntlet,
Oh,
right?
see if you can stand in that middle bit and look upwards because there's a skylight. The building that's directly in front of you.
Yeah, there's a skylight up the stairs.
There is a skylight. I wonder if you can aim up and shoot it under its underbelly.
Why are you shooting it using? Don't use the SMG. Can you aim straight up?
yep.
I may not be able. There it goes.
With the SMGs, no less, because
With
I was
the
trying to save a pistol round
SMGs.
for a little bit.
You just blew up a helicopter with SMGs after shooting 5 rockets at it. That makes perfect sense.
There's
Yeah.
a weird bit in here too, because like that helicopter that
Fuck,
was supposed to be
I've
your
spared
friendly
2
helicopter.
people and I feel unclean.
You should hit the lethal kill.
Instinct. My instinct says to spare these people, and I have to actively go out to defy it to murder them. It's a real
The
pity.
instinct is just to kill people is just the interact button. That's how Mike Thornton interacts with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I do have a funny story about that on Lazo's yacht. So I activated Shadow Operative and snuck in there, and I choked out Lazo, and then I walked over to the other bit where there's like some money for you to pick up or something like that, and there's the cowering girl there, and so I tried to pick up the money. I was apparently too close to the girl, and instead accidentally slit her throat. And I was like, that wasn't what I intended at all. Why would you do that?
Take the money or slit throats. Your call.
They're both the interact buttons, so you know. So I had to reload that mission.
Yeah.
Even Mina with me. Mike, what are you doing? Yeah, but the whole section is.
It is really it's hard to overestimate how much filler or
At least it's not as bad as
It's also
the
just, like-
Vampire and Zone, because I hate that one.
It's also just not the stuff that is
fun.
cool about this end sequence. Like we get these cool dialogue bits.
Oh, there's
right?
plenty of cool
Already
stuff.
especially had them. For instance, there was the whole Parker conversation that we skipped through.
Yeah.
It's like a microcosm of Alpha Protocol at the end of the day. Like there's some really cool conversations that endpoint really otherwise like really bland shooting.
Well, the
Yeah.
other about this is that it's really hard to stealth through this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, at least
This is
the
a shoot-
we're,
like,
we're about
yeah.
to we're about to
It's a
reach
shooting
the
gallery.
end boss, and this actual final boss is actually by far the best boss in the entire game, no matter whether it's Leland or
Or
Yancey.
Yancey, which I believe it's going to be Yancey because we're doing a non-compromise
It should be
run.
Yancey for you, yeah. Yeah, you've had Yancey appearing on the radio and all that.
Yeah.
But like this end is by far the best boss fight in the game because
Nice job, but I can't let you leave.
that would be wonderful. Etc. suggests that this should be a Jurassic Park island. That must this island is all about. And there's just dinos right around the corner. That would actually be great. Like, oh, this is the secret government program to bring back dinosaurs to use them for shots.
That would be a hell of a
Man, if this game were more Danger 5, that would be amazing.
I mean,
That'd
I
be
guess
a hell of
I
a-
don't
already
have any more
drop
use
right
for
before the-
stealth at this point, so I guess I just put all my movement in my
No,
point
no,
to
no,
toughness.
no. You can actually stealth through through a large part of this section.
I was gonna guess go force it, like just run for it, YOLO.
Yeah, it's fine. You don't have enough to do the awesome thing anyway. We'll save it for Charlotte.
Oh, you
if you,
have a time.
15 stealth is where you no longer have to crouch.
Yeah.
It's a lot
That's
of fun.
amazing.
I mean, it's not even that much different than crouch.
Because
moving
you're not that
around.
much
Sure,
faster.
let's
no.
commit. Let's hard commit to stealth. Yeah, sure. And then we'll put 1 point in toughness to get the 25 health.
Well, it
boost.
doesn't really matter anymore. I would actually hard commit to toughness because you can actually get all the way to 10 toughness. Can you? No.
No, I have
You know,
28
it's 1 to 4.
skill
No, yeah.
points. I can't get.
That
over
doesn't really
10.
matter.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
I'm sure we'll be fine.
Oh, there's a point too. So we don't actually have that many. I guess we ended up with a fair number of points anyway. Started with as a recruit, which
Yeah.
starts with much fewer points. You start with 30 fewer points or something. 32.
Oh, that's a lot. Here.
But you can actually stealth through large portions of the section. So there's this large area underneath, and then there's I think at least a couple of stairways up, and then there's then there can walkways to reach the middle bit where Nancy is.
Are you having trouble changing skills?
Yeah, easy boss fight.
You're not even using chain shot. Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
you don't really have to. You can that pillar gives you plenty of cover.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, you just do it down here. You can also get up there.
Like, yeah, you
and,
can get up
punch
there
him.
and like manually get up there, but you can just shoot him. It's fine.
Fun fact, by the way, you want to talk to him. By the way, don't execute him. If you want to execute him, you can execute him later. You have a choice.
We're getting some closure, guys.
Yeah, that's the other closure line.
Protocol if you hadn't chosen me. What I want to know is why.
That's actually why I told you to talk to him.
And keep their mouth shut. I needed someone I could trust.
Unfortunately, Westridge does not give you a very good conversation here. Like, he basically says, look, you were a tool, you're a gun to fire. That's exactly what you were created to be in the first place.
And we don't ask why. Say what you will. You had what it took to get the job.
Because I guess like they don't expect you to be a wild card, and then you turn out to be a wild card, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh. I mean,
What,
that's such a.
You knew the odds going in.
I don't know. That seems so obvious for a role-playing game, but you know, I guess it's hard to avoid in some cases.
Or worse, like Parker. That someone would have come along who owes one of their corporate buddies a favor, Halbeck or someone else. And we get used because
Oh,
we think
so-
the mission never to ask.
By the way, if Leland's your final boss here, that is to say, if you have not agreed to betray your country, so to speak, when you talk to Shahid, which, sorry, that's the second problem with the Shahid conversation. Number one is that you don't have the opportunity at the end to execute him. They don't set it up properly.
Yeah.
But the second bit is that it's not actually clear, like, what he gives you on Alpha Protocol. Like, he never actually explicitly
Yeah.
says what it is that he gives you on Alpha Protocol. And I think the only thing that he actually gives you is the opportunity to say yes or no to, are you willing to, quote-unquote, betray your country? So that's kind of silly. Like, I wish that it provided some actual more information. The other thing is, like, if you say no to her, you just don't have that conversation because you've killed Shahid, then your final boss is not Yancey. It is Leyland, and you are explicitly only looking down Halbeck and the Alpha Protocol associates of Halbeck that you can find, and you end up not being able to find Yancey. Yancey makes it off the island before now. And that's often listed as quote-unquote reconciling with Alpha Protocol, and that is not how that all plays out, because Mike never has the opportunity to go back to Alpha Protocol, and there's no conversation with about that. Like, there's no conversation with Yancey. That would actually be a good way to do this, right? Like, to be like, okay, we're extracting ourselves from the Halbeck connection and cleaning this program, cleaning house, and taking over,
Yeah.
Rebooting Alpha Protocol as something better, right?
Mm-hmm.
As something a little cleaner. Even though it's still this dark operation, it is at least a clean dark operation in Mike Thornton's mind, at least. That would be a reasonable end goal, but you don't get that, unfortunately.
I love how you says, "How dare you hit me," even though you've already hit him.
Yeah, I've already hit him.
For what you did to Mina.
You're gonna want to spare Leland.
I am?
Yes.
Are you
And
sure about
you can-
that? Oh.
The first time that it says spare or execute, you should click spare.
Okay.
Whatever you want to do
Okay, I thought
after
you meant
then.
ultimately.
Think you have control
Yeah.
of this
Because
I meant
no,
this
he's not walking out of this. Not a chance in
first
hell.
time. The first time you want to spare him, because you will get yeah, you'll just get one extra scene.
And all I have to do is let you go, right? See, that's
And
where you lose my
I think you want to be either aggressive or professional in the next one. I think you probably don't want to be suave.
I know what matters to you, Layla.
Just because I think suave actually convinces Scarlet. So this is actually a really cool scene. This is actually like part of why I would just say to spare him for the first bit, is you get this cool little. Number one, you get a couple of things here. Alpha Protocol, what's that?
Disappointment. The government won't allow my involvement with Alpha Protocol to be exposed.
And you get this interesting scene with Scarlet, and a little twist on it.
See on TV, Leyland. Should be quite the circus.
You're late.
I had to kill some soldiers on the way here.
Oh.
To your bill.
Yeah, that's a clean shot.
Now there's a picture. Yes, Mike? Don't be surprised. You did cost me the Sun contract, you know.
So you were the assassin.
Oh, I guess we didn't mention it before, but so there is the alternate version of the Contact Scarlet mission, where High Rep, and with High Rep, she really pulls and pushes. She really.
I don't think you have a contract to kill me yet.
What's the right word?
And I don't know if Leyland would honor it.
Anyway, she really pressures you to come clean about your specific role in this. Like, be honest with me. Like, I deserve that. She's really like accusing about it, and she really wants to know. Okay, oh, you get Mina instead. Interesting. She really wants to know. She really wants you to admit that you're a spy and to admit that you've got all this Halbeck intel here. She wants to tell the truth. She's demanding that you be honest about it, which is, oh no, you want to contact Mina? What? No!
Sorry, Mike.
You'll let her live, you fool!
Oh, I think I got what I wanted.
So next time,
I'll stay clear.
Oh.
oh, and Mike, here's that footage you gave me. I'd rather not explain to the press how I came across it. I'll leave
Alright.
that up to you. Alright then. Take
Anyway, it's especially
But yeah,
ironic
you
that
can't
you
have
find
Mina
out
just
that
save your
she's-
ass too if you want to. That's also a valid option.
It's just sorry to mention this, especially ironic that Scarlet demands you be honest with her when the entire time she's been
She's lying to you, yeah.
Mission accomplished, Agent?
But yeah, you can call your handler there, and I was wondering if there's actually a Z option, but maybe there is. Maybe if you haven't rescued Mina, you have the Z option.
I think there is the option if you do not rescue Mina.
But for instance, I got the Heck option even though I had rescued Mina, so that was pretty interesting there.
Yeah.
But Heck will shoot. So Mina will shoot her with her sniper rifle,
That's supposed
and you go, now that's a picture.
Yeah.
And then you get to execute Leyland if you want, or just punch, or just kick him in the stomach. But you're gonna execute him. Let's be honest.
There's one or two in our future.
And if Heck's there to save you, Heck actually has a lot to say. Heck will
Does
shoot
he
her with
tell?
Heck shoots her with a shotgun, which is pretty cool. And then Heck comes over, and he's like, "Hey, so what was up with that? Like, hey, so it's pretty funny about our Taipei assassin. I was surprised you let her live back then, I guess." And Mike's like, wait a second, hold on, you knew she was the assassin? And and says, yeah, I mean, duh. Like, I thought you were just like overlooking the whole assassinating politicians thing because you were trying to, get in their pants or something. Yeah, duh. Didn't know. So Heck actually knew that Scarlet was the assassin in Taipei.
Yeah, I remember. I remember this now. Yeah.
Yeah. Heck also has some great Heck dialogue there where he's like, Mike, you look gross. You're all dirty and bloody here, and you shouldn't be doing that. There's lots of germs here that date back probably to like the Second World War. I mean, the secret Second World War, not the one that everybody says happened.
Heck is something
Heck
else.
is a heck of a guy.
He's one heck of a guy. Also, you get the amazing dialogue with Heck on the boat.
Yeah.
Where, they say, oh, this is a great time. All that flooding and murder, good clean murder.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike would say, yeah, assuming that, we actually got to the bottom of all this, because, what if this was just a cover? And Heck goes, what, like an alpha protocol of another alpha protocol? Like an alpha protocol?
Yeah, I remember that scene, yeah. Like an alpha protocol.
Also might want to shut up for a couple of minutes because this scene is not subtitled, and so people want to hear all the news options. It's only a couple of minutes.
Sure.
This attack was just the latest in a period of escalating violence in the region, which began when Al-Samad collapsed last month. Since the disappearance of Ali Shahid, the Al-Samad terror network has disintegrated, with chief lieutenants forming their own breakaway sects in their attempts to establish dominance. This fragmentation of the Al-Samad network has coincided with a dramatic drop in arms trafficking in the region,
Gelato Man.
an event which has Pentagon officials relieved. According to one source, had the attackers been armed with more sophisticated weaponry than Cold War-era RPGs and assault rifles, the attack on the American convoy might have been much more severe. Luckily,
the Hulk played terrorists.
were able to repel the attack with minimal casualties. None of the Senate delegation to the Mid-East Unity Conference were harmed, but 2 Secret Service agents were killed in the line of duty. Our thoughts here at INN are with them and their families. Thousands lined the streets of Rome today for the funeral of Madison St. James, the young woman killed during the failed bombing attempt of the Roman Museum of Natural History. Miss St. James has become celebrated among proponents of stronger government anti-terror legislation since her death, and her funeral at times resembled a political rally. In the United States, Senator Patrick Darcy proposed Madison's Law, a sweeping bill some have likened to a new Patriot Act in response to the tragedy. As Miss St. James had no known family, Senator Darcy personally paid for her funeral here in Rome.
Senator Darcy.
Uncertainty still grips Taiwan in the wake of the deadly riots at last month's political rally.
Yeah, we'll talk about that
With the death
in
toll
a minute.
standing at over 300, concerns have been raised that President Ronald Sung's pro-independence government has become too aggressive. President Sung survived an assassination attempt during the rally, which many critics are calling an attempt to incite a war between Taiwan and mainland China. President Sung has refused to back down in the wake of the attempt on his life, and in a speech made earlier this week declared that his life meant nothing compared to Taiwanese independence. Taiwanese authorities announced the execution of attempted assassin Wen Shu today. Investigators have uncovered no motive for the assassination attempt. A copy of Catcher in the Rye, a novel famously associated with conspiracy theories and
Wen
secret
Shu
American brainwashing programs,
assassin.
was found in his apartment, leading to internet speculation that Wen Shu was an American sleeper agent planted to assassinate Sung and touch off a war with China. U.S. government sources have declined comment.
Alright, no more news, guys.
All right, so the thing that strikes me most about Alpha Protocol's credits is how sobering they are.
Yeah.
It's very, 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 very understated, but also listen to the music or the background music is very dark, atmospheric music, very different than the rest of the game. Actually, the boss fight music for
that what
the
you
final
did
boss
is
was
actually has ramifications
screen
for the
music.
world that you're in.
But yeah, and also very all of them are bad. Basically, every single news item here is bad in some way, except for maybe the first one where Moscow people, Halbech people in Moscow were going down, and a bunch of Moscow oligarchs are going
think
down.
about poor Wen,
oh my
implicated
gosh,
as an assassin.
And the alternate one there, if Heck doesn't like you and sells you
It's
out,
you,
is that it's you. They're still looking for Michael Thornton, is what they say. so now you're further on the run, and so there's the question of like, okay, you get off much easier, but at the expense of this guy who presumably he has done nothing wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't know. I mean, Stephen Heck doesn't like him, but that really does not say much.
No.
Like,
Uh,
like for
that
all
actually
we
maybe
know,
means that
like
he's
Wen is just a
completely
dude
normal.
that that was found by Heck one day.
Yeah. But yeah, like the news report is just, especially after like you get the oh cool rock music at the end of the thing, and then it cuts right into dark atmospheric playing. Like it's not even like a cathartic track. Like I really love Mass Effect 1's its music, the M4.2 by The Fonts. It's actually how I found that band, which is really really cool electronic rock band. You just going through this sequence again? Cool.
Yeah, we've already we can keep talking about it while the
Sure.
scenes play.
Sure, cool.
Just keep going.
But like Alpha Protocols instead is, you know, not cathartic feeling at all, not, you know, cool pumping feeling at all, not, you know, simple orchestral stuff or anything, not even like a dark pounding music that's like at the title screen
It's
music
very
that plays during this,
sobering is
during
the
this
word
boss
I would
fight.
use. Yeah.
Sobering,
Yeah,
yeah.
sobering
And
makes a lot
it's it kind of leaves you feeling unsettled at the end of it, as you realize that, well, that's more like the real world. Like you don't, you know, just get the beat the bad guy.
Congratulations,
and get the
you
happy
exposed the
ending.
conspiracy, but at the same time,
Yeah,
like
but-
the conspiracy still did incalculable damage to the world state.
Yes, and even things that like you got involved in have been there. So like you killed Nasri, but if you extorted Nasri, those terrorist bombings either, so there's two types of terrorist bombings there. I'll get to that in a second. But
Yeah.
if you just extorted Nasri for intel basically,
He's still alive. He
then
still funds those terrorists.
he's still alive and he still funds them. They have like state of the art military grade equipment,
Yeah.
which has probably been stolen by the
But
U.S.
since we
probably
murdered
through those
Nazri in cold
contacts with
blood,
Al-Samad.
they only had primitive weaponry.
Yeah, so that one's actually the one part where you can get a bit of goodness there. Although if you do that, then you actually don't get more. You didn't get more information about the Halbech conspiracy.
Yeah.
But like if we spared Al-Samad, you see, you know, we spared Shahid. Oh no, we killed Shahid. Sorry, but if you spare Shahid, by the way, he sets off a bunch of bombings that kill several dozen people.
Yeah.
Or maybe even several hundred,
And
but a lot
there's
of people
still-
die because of this. And in this case, even though you execute them, it actually made it worse than that, because as it turns out, you get, you know, a kind of like ISIS situation after, you know, you leave the power
There's a new
vacuum,
leader
and
in the
a whole bunch of different splinter groups form up, and all of the Al-Samad lieutenants trying to claim rank on all their things. They're trying to outshine each other, or, you know, they're trying to do individual personal ops rather than one single big operation.
create a
that
power
can-
vacuum.
Yeah, but there are also then many competing operations against each other,
Just chaos.
or they don't have the same sort of, you know, philosophies as Shahid does, of like a surgical attack type thing.
But yeah.
And so you end up with a worse situation as even more people die. You also have the double whammy of whether or not Madison is alive or dead, or I guess if she's,
I think if Madison's
well, she's
alive, she spearheads legislation herself.
No, it's the opposite. She spearheads legislation against current anti-terrorist legislation practices as being encroaching on freedom. She's anti-patriot type stuff, whereas Senator Darcy uses her death as a catalyst for even stronger privacy infringing legislation.
Surveillance, yeah.
So it might be maybe
whereas-
smart to have Madison alive so that she can do like the right thing.
Yeah, but if she's alive, then hundreds of people have died in the bombing in Rome.
Right.
Have Mina shoot her. Have Mina shoot her.
I mean, that's what we're going to do since I didn't see last time.
Ah,
But keep
goodness.
talking about. We're talking about the finale.
I know.
So yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
And it's just or like the Type A situation where you've rescued Sung, and like one of the things Mike can explicitly say is that, you know, he believes that, you know, if you stop an assassination, you can quell the riots, right? But you can't unassassinate somebody. And with Sung alive, there's at least a chance of him being there as a stabilizing force to quell problems, right? But as we see in the ending slide, like Sung takes that assassination attempt even further. Like he becomes even more militant in his
In his quest
specifically
for freedom,
like,
yeah.
of mainland China, piss off the PRC quest, right? Is basically what he goes on from there.
Well, I mean,
So-
if they're gonna try to kill you anyway, you might as well go all at it.
Yeah.
right.
Well, my life means nothing compared to
I
the
don't even know where
the
here is.
future of Taiwan.
Surprising.
Right.
Yeah.
And
But
so,
it's
we get the martyrdom syndrome there, by the way, in the end too. But like he's just even further. So actually, maybe he ought to stabilize Force. Maybe saving him was a terrible
What's
idea.
that supposed to mean?
But
But,
either way, like
don't know.
regardless of what you did, on some level, there have been disastrous repercussions for the world stage as a result of what happened in this game.
Yeah, and it's just kind of interesting because like so much of this game is kind of wacky and spy thrillery at the low level.
Yeah.
But at the high level, like like
There's some
it,
terrible shit going on.
it tries
Oh,
to
yeah,
be a little
like-
more mundane, I guess.
Like,
Yeah.
when etc. mentions there being he expects dinosaurs on this island. I mentioned what if
Yeah.
Alpha Protocol were more like Danger 5, which is, I don't know if any of you see it, but it's amusing retelling of what if World War II extended into the 60s and was crazy bonkers.
Yeah.
This is funny Australian show. It's worth watching season 1 of season 2 sucks. It's the 80s version 1, and it's just not as funny. But yeah, it's a little bonkers. And Alpha Protocol, parts of Alpha Protocol actually remind me of it, in that like
Yeah.
Heck and Z feel very much like characters from this sort of scenario.
I
But
feel like cartoon
or
characters.
Sis even. They
Yeah.
feel like cartoon characters. That's what
Yeah,
the show is very. It's very cartoony.
Yeah, but then you get like
and Alpha
people
Protocol
like
has a lot of that, but-
Albatross or people like
Yeah.
Backs for troubled Halbeck Industries today as Russian
like
Leyland.
Parker and Leyland, who are like much more real.
There are a
real,
lot of
like, much-
people-
There's
like-
everything about Leland feels so real. Even the way that he like
Yeah.
smarmily tries to convince you that he's not really the bad guy.
Even
here.
Marburg
It's so
feels
great.
like real in a very
Oh, yeah.
dark way.
Yeah, it's the guy who was thought he was serving entry and then he got burned and he's just like fed up with it and dead to it and is now so fucking empty and so
That must be
fucking
why I
messed
like
up and empty
Rome.
inside.
Because like with Russia, you get Braco, this flamboyant guy in the purple jacket. In Taipei, you get Omen Dang, this guy who clearly is modeled after an old Japanese superhero, despite being Taiwanese. And then there's Marburg, who is like one of the most real of the three villains of the hubs. You know, ignoring the fact that Scar is the actual villain of Taipei.
Surkov is also a villain of
Yeah.
Moscow.
Yeah, but there's a
And
lot of people.
Surkov
in-
does feel pretty real too. Like he's
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
actual business person making contacts, and
It's
even
like
at the
there's
end
these
of
crazy personalities,
even when it
like,
reveals.
these crazy wild personalities that are reined in by like actual serious, like really dark people.
Mhm.
I mean,
yeah, that
I
makes a lot of sense.
like a mix like that.
Yeah.
I think this game does a pretty good job with the mix for sure.
I think the game would probably be a bit too much if it were, I don't know, even I was gonna say full on Spec Ops, but like even Spec Ops, as far as I know, does do a little bit of oddness, like with their Conrad, with their Conrad or whatever,
Yeah.
Especially at the end, yeah.
the XP.
Yeah. And the character's name is Conrad in
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the character that he's a reference to from Heart of Darkness.
Heart of Darkness, yeah.
Conrad, of course, being the author.
The
but,
author of Heart of Darkness. Yeah.
I forget his name, but the guy at the end. He's an XP of that character from Heart of Darkness.
Yeah.
But now
And that character is a little over the top, but intentionally so because they've gone binky bumpers.
Yeah, the end of that is a trip. But yeah, it's just the tone of this does manage to coalesce most of the time. Like certainly, I think the ending is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And it has a problem a lot of these kinds of games do, where some of the hubs are
we've
like-
talked in length about how some of the hubs are like noticeably weaker than others.
yeah, for sure.
Like we went on Taipei when we were in Taipei,
Yeah.
and how Rome seems like to be like the most put together of the three hubs.
Mhm.
Even if
But
it
it's just
also has
interesting to
some
see-
places that feel like hollow and incomplete.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about what a sequel to Alpha Protocol could look like.
I don't think I ever want them to do a true sequel to
Yeah.
Alpha Protocol. What I would want them to do is take the lessons they learned and make a different spy RPG.
Even if they weren't doing a spy RPG, like there's a lot of lessons in this game that
Yeah.
you could take.
Like Like I
Just by
I do
how it
want to
deals
see
with
more
characters.
RPG set
Yeah.
in modern day, like in like
Yeah.
that kind of like Bond style like spy thriller. I think I think there's great
That's
potential there.
It's a surprisingly rare
Yeah.
setting.
Because I would like to see someone take another crack at the modern espionage RPG, and
Yeah.
try to do it justice. Because this game, like, it's close. It just it's
I can
very
think of
close.
some strategy. I can think of some like strategy role playing games that take place in that kind of setting.
Yeah.
Like Phantom Doctrine, obviously. There was All
I guess
Walls
Invisible
Must
Ink
Fall.
also kind of like, but that's more of a
Yeah.
roguelike.
Yeah, I mean they're all strategy games, right?
Yeah.
Because you have a squad instead of just having one person.
And Shadowrun does the cyberpunk version of that
Yeah.
fairly well too.
Also, yeah. We'll see how Cyberpunk looks like. Actually, that should be interesting.
Yeah. But
Whenever it
But there's
comes
difference
out
between
in a couple
cyberpunk
years.
and like modern, like this is
Yeah,
roughly like early to mid like 2000s era.
Yeah, because
like-
this is very deliberately based in like current events.
Yeah,
Like, the current-
Like, and
Like,
you can
I-
tell like what was on people's minds at the time that people made this game.
like even
Mm-hmm.
among quote unquote cyberpunky games, Alpha Protocol has a lot more stylistically in common with, say, something like Deus Ex,
Yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than something like Shadowrun or a Cyberpunk,
Mhm.
Yeah.
where it's very, Deus Ex is near future, but it's still very much set in present concerns. And a lot of
Yeah.
Cyberpunk is set in present concerns, or is about appropriating present concerns into a
Yeah,
fictional
pushing
setting.
them forwards and-
But like as far as I know, I haven't played the original Deus Ex. As far as I know from
I
you,
have, yeah.
you guys might be able to back me up or contradict me on this. But the original Deus Ex seems very much more like, feels very closer to the present day than a lot of other cyberpunk things.
Yeah.
And that it feels like it's based in the same sort of political structure as the present.
I would say it feels more like 5 years ago, but yes, like because
I mean,
Deus Ex is seeped into the early 2000s era conspiracy theories.
Yeah, that's what Exeter is just
Yeah.
saying. Like it's
I
90s
actually
conspiracy theories.
the present day when it was released is actually what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. In that
I
case,
mean, they
yes,
actually
it
are
is
further,
like,
aren't they?
it's time. Yes.
Or is it the other way around?
Oh, I think Human Revolution's. I have played Human Revolution. I haven't played original Deus Ex, but
Yeah.
Human Revolution does seem like further from its present day when it was released than
Yeah.
I feel like the original Deus Ex was.
Original Deus
from
Ex was definitely like a product of its era. It could only have come out in that time at that year.
Yeah, because it's it's the in between
It's like
space,
they
right?
they
And
mentioned the
that's very
FEMA
different.
conspiracy by name.
Yeah, Human Revolution is a prequel. Yeah.
It's the kind
what I
of stuff that
thought,
makes me make it feel quite a lot like Alpha Protocol too.
Yeah.
And that it's very much based
Yeah.
in.
'Cause you play Off Protocol, you remember the time when people were
Contemporary
like, where the Iraq War was the only thing people were talking about.
Yeah.
That time is like because it's from that time, so that time is very clear, like in its memory.
It's interesting to see like Russia and China as the other two of the other main areas.
Because
in this
yeah,
game.
that was like back then, like that was all people could talk about. Is
I mean,
like,
that's still
Yeah, but
mostly
it's
I mean,
still
right?
yeah, in a little bit
Like
today.
Russia was a lot less relevant then than it was now.
Yeah.
than it is.
This is true. Although the focus is more on the China situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It was more just like
Russia
weapon
is
business and
actually.
stuff like that, yeah,
In
it's
fact,
kind
actually, in Alpha Protocol, Russia is a bit of a backwater in this case, in that like
Yeah. It's just where the
it's just
mob
being
and
used by
weapons
others,
factories
and
stuff like that. Yeah.
Sarkov's point is trying to. Well, it's actually kind of because Russia's had economic problems all the time, but Sarkov wants to boost Russian industrial economy,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the potential outcomes we could have gotten in the. I think if you align with Sarkov rather than having him give up the deal to you, if you actually make a deal with him, then I think you end up getting a news at the end about
Yeah.
increasing Russian industrial.
Again, there is the ending
GDP.
where U.S. Thornton can side with Layla and then stab in the back and reveal, yeah,
it's
I
great.
have like my huge collection of networks that I have established over
Shadowbroker style.
my adventures, and I don't really need you anymore. I can take care of
And-
your company without you.
Thornton like lists all of them off. Actually.
Yeah, he lists
He'd
them
get,
off
a
like
video
one by
with them all.
one.
And there's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And
characters.
it's when he's listing, yeah, it's when he's listing them off that you realize, oh my god, I am like in with a ton of people.
Which
Some of whom
is
like
also-
people don't even know who they are.
Which is also very similar to the duality of Alpha Protocol, the program.
Yeah.
That, it can be used for many different purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Same as these concepts that you develop. They're just assets. How you actually use those assets is what's important.
Mm-hmm. Which makes it a very flexible setting for a game, because you can do all sorts of things.
I mean,
right?
the deep secret spy fiction genre is the perfect staging ground for that kind of narrative, where it's all about the context you create behind the scenes.
That's also why this game is as interesting as it is to me, is because it's all about manipulating relationships and the people and what they know, and all of it tied together with all these different secret organizations and all that.
I think
and
we're
just
saying,
manipulating the world.
They were saying that perhaps, in a very literal sense, the true Alpha Protocol is the friends made along the way.
Maybe we should
it's the replacement Alpha Protocol.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, do you have any
friends we made along the way?
Do you have any final thoughts on the game that you guys want to talk about before we wrap up once and for all?
I mean, in quote unquote sequels, that is, spiritual sequels, that is, things exploring the same sort of themes, and that, I guess, a mechanical theme that I would prefer to see focused on a lot is a very good accounting of what the character knows.
Yeah.
And how that knowledge can be used. So, an expansion of the dossier system, so to speak.
Yeah,
Makes a lot of sense. I mentioned before, maybe they could have that you gain access to intelligence networks. If you align with G22, that just opens a bunch more intel that you could learn about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and some of that intel will overlap with, I infiltrated the CIA network.
So we actually had a commenter in the last episode that we published who mentioned that a game that does take these mechanics kinds of reiterates on them is The Council.
Yeah.
Which is it's a RPG that's very, very talkie based.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a talkie based RPG set in the, I think, very 1800s.
Yes,
and it's all about
George Washington's a character in the game.
Yeah,
for
old George Washington, young Napoleon.
Yeah,
and it's very much based in secret conspiracy,
Freemason,
Freemason type conspiracy, that sort of Illuminati type thing.
Yeah,
like Deus Ex, except historical
but
fiction,
original Illuminati type thing, not the reimagining in
Deus Ex,
in conspiracy fiction in general.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting
Wait, who? Where's comment?
Let me get the name out. Let me get the name.
Okay. But the thing, I just wish some of the lessons from this game with how conversations flow and how relationships play out, I think it's a lot of work is a thing with this.
Her name is Matthew Malang.
Yeah,
Was it on the YouTube video or something?
Yes, on the YouTube version.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into that kind of thing, that kind of branching narrative, and Obsidian's kind of moved away from that again, which has been very disappointing for me in some ways. I think the Pillars games are interesting, or at least the first one is. I like the first one, but they're much more lore-based, right?
Yeah.
And about you exploring the world and discovering the world, as most fantasy games are.
Although, Pillars 2 does end with a choice between multiple factions, New Vegas style.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but the first Pillars is you choose which path, that is that last
God
is really
you decide to work with.
Yeah, that's really interesting. But and I'm just not sure what direction they're going to go with Outer Wilds. Is that what that game's called?
The Outer Worlds.
The Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds. That makes more sense. Outer Worlds. And it's going much more with the wacky side of Obsidian. But I'm curious to see if that's.
We don't know if they actually do how much role playing they do.
It's an Obsidian game. There's got to be a fair amount. That is Obsidian's thing. That is the one commonality between most of their games. Is that they're RPGs of some description.
I'll link it to you later, Will.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, so Alpha Protocol is kind of the black sheep of the Obsidian stable. Everyone's played KOTOR 2, right? Even though it has a lot of problems.
I actually haven't played KOTOR, but I saw the LP. Spoiler warning.
What is people?
Well,
people
that's
know.
KOTOR. He was talking about KOTOR 2. KOTOR is BioWare.
Yeah, Knights of the Old Republic 2. Like, people know what it is, at least, right?
Yeah, I'm aware
And
of what it is.
what it's about and stuff like that. And it has a reputation, and Alpha Protocol feels like it's had kind of a resurgence among certain people. Like, I remember when we first started publishing.
It's actually the third game in the series.
Alpha Protocol?
There's no Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Okay. What's
Knights
the
of the
first
Old Republic was the second game of the series. The first game of the series was Knight of the Old Republic.
one? Okay.
Yeah, actually, correction, that comment was on the first episode. Like, someone was going through and watching our stuff.
Well, I can understand why you would think that's the last episode that we published, because,
Yeah.
But yeah, Alpha Protocol has a lot of interesting lessons that kind of
'Cause
got missed.
the
because it
time
didn't
between
really
this episode and the very first episode is probably about the same time as between, like, any two other normal episodes on our old schedule. So
Yeah.
We were doing them every few weeks when we were doing well. It took a few months a few times, but Anyways, I guess I don't have much more to say. I just think Alpha Protocol is a really interesting game.
Yeah. And it still is, even today.
Yeah. Like, it's not like a lot of games you'll see, like, when you go back to them, they feel a lot, they feel older, right? Because, like, so many games take the lessons from those games, whereas Alpha Protocol is like this stubby branch off the RPG tree that didn't get followed up on.
Yeah, I will say that every time I go back to Alpha Protocol, it doesn't feel older. I guess. It feels fresh in new ways, and new ways that I hate, and some new ways that I like.
It is an eminently replayable
seeing how,
game. That's
like,
for
seeing
sure.
how broken Taipei really was a relatively recent thing for me.
Yeah, you weren't like that at all when we did the original LP.
Yeah, and now I think Taipei is by far is a fundamentally broken to its core, and part of that is just.
And in ways even I didn't see
better
like way
actual
back
history.
then, like in ways that I couldn't even probably comprehend back then because I didn't know much about like world history.
With the specific geopolitics involved in the conspiracy.
And yet overall, I still like Alpha Protocol a lot. Like, I even like a lot of that stuff there. It's just I find new things to criticize, both in terms of positive critique and negative critique, and just like kind of neutral commentary as well, pretty much all the time.
Yeah, it's very different in terms of like the relationship it has with the like current gaming like scene, like style.
Yeah.
And it manages to show in different ways depending on where the gaming scene is. But yeah.
So
I guess that's about it, huh?
In closing, once again, I am Brandon Carey.
Excuse me. In closure.
That was Anaphysic, and lastly, Alduin.
Hi, that's me.
This has
also,
been,
I was there.
This has been Closure Alert.
This is
And
fun,
thank you
actually.
so much for watching, guys.
This has been fun.
Yeah, I'm glad we.
I don't know. Are we?
And
Are
thank
we
you
gonna-
both for deciding to come back to do this, because you didn't have
We
to.
can try to get it started. We've been trying to do this.
Yeah, we actually have tried to do this a few times. It's true. And I mean, originally we were gonna make a whole series out of this.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
were.
It wasn't gonna be just about Alpha Protocol.
Yeah.
I mean, Alpha Protocol is just the thing that started it, just because all three of us
Had played
really
that
liked
game
it,
and liked
and
it.
spoiler
We felt
warning,
like more people need to talk about
could
it,
not
right?
cover it. We felt like we had a lot to say, and that it deserved to be covered in a lot of ways.
And even all these years later, I still don't have a lot to say about this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've forgotten a lot of this game, to be honest. I'm a lot quieter now than I was then.
Yes.
Even then,
But even
I
then,
will
you've
say-
made some really good points.
I will say that both of you have made many new points that you didn't just say back in
Yeah.
Disclosure Alert. Like, you guys have said brand new stuff. You don't know it because you don't remember
Yeah.
anything. But I remember it all. And you guys have made many new points.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah.
Including,
we're-
not just like changing your minds on certain things, but just,
We
like,
have entirely different
totally new,
content.
totally new
I kind of
criticisms.
lost touch with you, Will, for those years, but like with Alvin and I, we've become dramatically different people than we were 5 years ago.
Yeah. 5 years is a long ass time.
Yeah.
turns out. What game were we gonna do next? Did we decide?
Yeah,
It
well,
was going to be
I-
Bastion, but we can talk about like possibilities like off screen if they decide to
Yeah.
continue
I'm just
this.
curious. Like that's what we had decided then.
It's worth noting. We were originally going to do Bastion for a second season. Mumbles was going to join us as. That's how long ago this was. That that was still in the mind of like planning out things. Mumbles was actually going to join us as a regular host.
Oh right.
for
I
that.
can
Yeah.
vaguely
Uh,
remember.
and we had like a list of different things. I would have to suggest that when we got to the third season, it have to be a game starting with C. So we went on Protocol and Bastion. You know,
Right.
we were even gonna change like the disclosure alert icon to the kid, like to update it for each. We had plans. We were fools.
We were
but we were
you know-
fools with plans.
When expectation meets reality, reality wins, doesn't it?
Yep.
Hold on. I'm gonna choose D, which happens to be Punch New Dark Cloud. Don't worry. There's a head slam afterwards.
You should just cut it there. That's it. Bye.
That's it. Bye.
It's over. It's finished.